All right. Good morning. Good morning. Give me just a second here. There is a settings difference between today and other days that I got to go look into because there was no waiting room today. All right, let me share my screen. Let me make sure that chat is available to. Okay, so when you make, if you send a message, make sure you send it to everyone unless you want it to go specifically to me. Otherwise, you can hear and see. Steven says, that's what I was about to ask. Thank you. Good morning. Nicasio, good to see you. And good morning, everybody else. We're going to give it the customary couple of minutes to let the stragglers in. So settle in, pull up your pull up your charts. That's another reason to have two screens because then you can, have your account up on one screen and be seeing things while watching on the other. Mm. Greetings to you, Sandy. Good to see you. Happy Monday. I guess your Monday's technically over. You're like, we've already done Monday over here. Mm. Literally, this last weekend was the first time we had like real snow, where it actually like laid down, and I probably could have gotten a shovel out and actually gone out and shoveled. Looks like it's going to warm up at the end of the week, so I'm just going to let it sit, see if it melts. It's the end of January. It's crazy. Anyway. All right. Well, let's go ahead and kick things off. We've got a lot to cover. I see a couple of new names, so I'm gonna say hello. If you want to reach out, say hello back. But Ellen, welcome. Good to see you. Frank, good to see you. Glad to have you. Um, the direction we're trying to go is really orienting and catering to beginners, to new traders, and really helping make sure inevitably we end up going into more complicated things, but always making sure that we come back, check in. So, um, if you're, good morning, go Eagles, love it. Love it. Representing. Uh, yeah, if you're new, make sure you hopefully get comfortable, ask questions, dive in. There's a lot of resources available, both through other members and in the circle community. There's videos, there's documents, there's links. So look around, explore. Anyways, today, what are we doing? Monday market kickoff. We just met yesterday, uh, for an hour. Had a great hour talking about market conditions, talking about what we like, what we don't, what's gotten better, what are we concerned about, what does it mean. And now nothing's changed, but here we are talking again. Why? Because now we are translating our market posture to our trading posture, right? Now we're moving the more broad, what do we think about this market, into a now what? That's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's what you have to have is a now what? Now what? Now what are you going to do? Are you going to trade? What? Where? How much? For how long? Those are the questions that at any given time, right? Like that's I think what we're trying to do is keep a better overall and adapting sense of those questions, right? Those questions naturally answered themselves and eased back when the market showed some choppiness. And now, as the market looks like it's trying to move out of that, and that's what we've seen. Let's just dive into that. And here's the disclaimer. Sorry, I started talking. Um, don't forget, we're education illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give advice or recommendations. Now, what do? We connect the dots with the opening future in the news. We look at the calendar and how our posture plays into that. And then we look at open trades. I wouldn't expect, actually, that there's very many open trades right now. Maybe one or two. So you're checking in on those. We actually, the prescription that we had talked about was patience with with preparedness, preparation. Meaning what? Meaning that if the market just went up for 8 straight days, and that was the catalyst we needed to help make the determination that buyers have regained control. Well, we don't just be like, all right, now let's ask for another 8 days. That's 16 days. Do we see the market go up for 16 days in a row very often? No, we don't. So, um, we'll look at the range today. We'll look at our opportunity list. We have an opportunity list chock full. What does that opportunity list need for the most part? Pullback. We need a pullback. What are the futures showing today? I don't know. Maybe a pullback. We'll see. Let's go talk about it. Lastly, trading plan section of the week. We are back on cycle. Last week we did section one. There are 8 sections. Every 2 months, we cycle. Every 2 months. So if you're new, you're like, boom, give us your first pass at a trading plan. We're going to help you build the best trading plan you ever thought possible that you would ever have. After the first 2 months and you've defined your trading plan, then the second time you pass, you refine it. Define, refine, third time polish. After that, you start to prioritize different areas, et cetera, et cetera. We're on section two. If you missed section one, you can catch up. What's the request? 1 hour a week, specifically dedicated to your trading plan. That's it. 1 hour. The preference is all at once, maybe break it up into a couple pieces. If you do that, you will be very happy with what you produce. Tangible production of a trading resource that will be probably your best. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Walmart. So, what am I going to do when I see? Well, actually, no, I'm like going straight to a trade. Let's go to the futures, actually. Let's go to the futures. Let me reload this real fast to make sure I have live. NASDAQ futures lead sell off. Oh, well, um, uh, something seems wrong here. The NASDAQ seems like it's only down 0.23. The S&P seems like it's down 2.25, and the Russell is flat. Something seems off here. Something seems off. Am I wrong? Is that right? Let's go look at some futures, I guess. Yeah, no, the S&P futures are definitely down 2%. That's such a strange mix across the different major markets. So the S&P is down. Let's go look at the NQs. Ah, yeah. Okay, so that's where I'm like, Yahoo's got something's wrong here. If you notice, they're like, oh, the NASDAQ's only down 0.23. Oh, I'm sorry, what? It's down 3.6. So what does this all mean to us? Well, We actually, and it seemed like most people did, closed the last of the Cisco trade. That was our tech trade on Friday. Looks like that's going to end up being a good close. Let's go take a peek at that chart. I mean, it's not getting, demolished. Let me show you what I'm looking at. If you have trades, weigh in. Tell me what you think. So I'm looking up here. I can't see that very well. Let me change back to red. I'm looking up here. 6133 by 6153. So that's down there. If you held, you're going to have lost the weekend plus that. That's why I didn't want to hold through the weekend. No trades, unpredictable. Okay, well, no trades. We just got that. That's kind of what we're saying is most of the things we would have had. Now, what's the exception? Well, and I said my hope with the Walmart trade is anyone that is one that I'm still carrying. So if we go look at the Walmart trade, what is it showing? It's actually showing that we're going from 94.76 to 95, right? It's still going the right way. It's going to be up in here. Now, do I expect it to continue that way? Well, who knows? But at least it's starting in the right place. That's all we can ask for, right? In the beginning, it's starting in the right place. Okay. What else is going on? So the futures are not good. Let me reload this one more time and see if Yahoo can figure it out. Who has trades on? And if so, on what? That's a question. NASDAQ futures lead sell off as AI fears rock techs. Um, Nvidia tumbles after a Chinese startup's claim of cheaper AI rattles faith. Oh. Sell off reminds investors of the big risk in big tech. Uh, Coffee source to record. Oh, I haven't looked at coffee futures in a while. What is deep seek and why is it freaking out the world? Oh, well, that's the news is deep seek and this new Chinese chip that they're saying means you don't need the more expensive chips. And the market is even yeah, you can see that the Russell's cheaper to run and faster. Yes, right? Cheaper to run and faster. And I mean, clearly this guy's he's not looking calm and composed. There's some turmoil in the market today. Okay, what's coming out? Let's look at the news. Home sales. Nobody really cares. Tomorrow, consumer confidence is expected to tick up from 104.7 to 106.3. That's favorable, like unexpected. Wednesday, we have some inventories. Uh, the Fed meets. They actually start their meeting on Tuesday, then they give their announcement, and then have a press conference. Not a lot of expectation there. So then on Thursday, we're looking for GDP. GDP expecting to drop from 3.1 to 2.5. What else do we have? Jobless claims still in the low 200s. Friday, so it's pretty loaded this week, like accelerating. Friday brings income, spending, PCE. Um, okay. Um, let's go see. Let's go see how it looks. Oh, well, look at Walmart doing even better than we thought. Fabulous. So that's kind of the only lingering trade. And what's happening with the Walmart trade? It looks like right now you're in an area to potentially take a little profit. So depending on right, if you have some on, you might decide to close a portion, um, a quarter, a third, a half, depending on how many contracts you have. You can see it's already kind of coming back down from the highs, but um, yes, it's right in that area. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Now that what just happened in here, you'll notice that it opened up, went all the way up to 96.50, and it's back down to 95.45. Where was our take profit at 96? So if you're going to utilize that, that's the kind of thing that it's nice to have an automatic order where you're like, hey, I should just have it so it triggers and bam, it's gone. Because sometimes it's fleeting. Is it going to get back there today? Maybe, and maybe not. Hmm. Okay, let's go see the rest of the carnage. Good morning, everybody. If I haven't had a chance to see that you've arrived, so our posture, our market posture, improved this last week. If you weren't there, it improved from a 4 or 5 to a 5. So it's not back where it was prior to December's drop when we were in the sevens and sixes, but it's stabilized and improved. What does that mean to me? Well, it means that if we have signals, so that's where, as we look at our watch list, let's go through and take a peek. Apple, let's start there. Apple for me still kind of in that consolidation zone. You've got earnings in just a few days. I would really like to see Apple buyers be more convincing than this. Right? We've seen them do that before. I need to see them maybe get on through at least through the prior low and then on the next high, then maybe I keep right clicking for some reason. I don't know why I keep doing. Then maybe over here for me on Apple. Apple is excommunicado right now. It's not tradable. Amazon. Whoa. We said, what are we looking for? We said, oh, a pullback. This is kind of what we drew, 2 to 3 days. Boom, we got there fast. So now the question is, ooh, is it too fast? We're like Goldilocks sometimes, right? We're like, I want it to pull back, but I don't want it to pull back that fast. But faster than that. These things, the blades of grass dictating conditions to the lawnmower. It's always fun to do. Here's what I would like, said the blade of grass to the lawnmower. We all know how the lawnmower replied. APP. So we're getting the pullback, right? This is not a surprising thing that we're seeing right now. Sorry, I lost my chat. Um, where did it go? Let me pause. And there we go. Right now, everything that Steven has is covered. Okay, covered calls is okay. Covered calls will sustain through this. Um, let's keep going. AXP. Love AXP. Right? This is not concerning to me, these red candles. I mean, yeah, they're giving back, but it had a pretty healthy run. If you're a Fibonacci person, this is still not even to 50% yet. So yeah, I feel like if this thing comes in Wednesday, Thursday, according to this, could go much faster though. We still have to be ready. Once it starts pulling back, flags, the potential of flags, bull flags, start to show up. Bank of America. Oh, now Bank of America, you can kind of see has gone into this little consolidation. Seems to have found some support. Starting to turn. That's the level I'm looking for. Where it is or a little higher, maybe at the end of the day, you'll notice down here that's going to turn that stochastics. That's viable potential for an entry right there. Absolutely. So that's on the docket. BX just barely starting to pull back. Has earnings here this week. There's another round of earnings coming out this week. So be careful. There's one more big. Caterpillar also on that docket of earnings. Also starting to pull back though. Yeah, this is, the market's got to breathe out. Everything has to breathe. You can't only breathe in. Big deep breath in. What do? It's hard to take another big deep breath in. You got to breathe out. That's what the market did. Took a big deep breath in. Woo! Oh, my goodness. What the market giveth, the market taketh away. And it's close to earnings. Boy, I'll tell you what, right? Body slam. That was a big one. This should help emphasize a concept though. And that is if you're swing trading, number one, the last entry for us was back here, right? And you get in and it has a little bit of a mix up, but then it goes. When you start hitting this, first and foremost, you're in a windfall situation. You had 3 days in a row, 3 days in a row where it just sat. What do we say is happening there? Resistance. What's happening to your stochastics? It clearly rolled over and you got to Friday. If you're in a short term trade and you held all the way through to this, you just got a real taste of the saying pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Yeah? Don't be greedy. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. So people who held on, like, oh, maybe there's a little more. You think? Well, based on what? As I look back and I look at the previous moves that this thing had made, that was the biggest one it had done yet. What would we be looking for if not what it had already done? What's going to tell us, hey, you should probably be getting out if the fact that it's not going right? Hopefully you see that the tales of woe from anyone who 16%, that was big. Cisco, it's the same principle. We said, look, it's kind of done its thing. It's gotten almost all of what we were asking for. It's Friday. We can put it at risk or we can close. As far as I know, everybody closed. And now what? Now we're to some extent patting ourselves on the back, saying, "All right, well done." Now what? Now get ready for the next trade. We're just setting up in here. Come on down, setting up, turn around. This pulls back. Right? We're already starting to see it. Does it come? Maybe. If it does, we're ready. Yeah, I feel pretty good about what's going on. Took a little gain in Walmart. Hopefully it can recover and keep going. Delta. Oh, Delta. That's the kind of thing that we just saw this make this new high. That's nice and bullish. I did it again. I don't know why. That's nice and bullish. After it makes this new high, what do we look to see? What do the sellers do? Here comes this flag. Anything through here. If this thing starts to turn around and go, we better be ready. If we're going to trade it, it might not give us much. I like Delta. Diamonds. All right, so the Dow gapped down and is getting a lot of it back, which could be some defensiveness. Fast and all, we like this one. Moved up, pulling back. This still is knocking on the door for me. Plenty of things that we like developing here. Flex. Oh man, I gotta say it's that same principle. Like, what through here would you be holding on to as this drops? We were looking for the pullback. That's a hell of a pullback. Now you've got to be like, is it a pullback or a sell off? Because those are different things. Bitcoin pulling back a little bit. GE Renova. Oh my gosh, look at that one. Ooh, man. Who would have thought? Where did that come from? Earnings were back here. I gotta go look at like some of the news as to like what interpretations are going on. Because yeah, that's something, huh? That's the kind of thing there where I'm thinking to myself, not really calling that a a pullback. I'm calling that a solid. Yeah, there's some pearl clutching. Won't somebody won't somebody think of the children? Um, Chinese AI, DeepSeek. I mean, yeah, maybe like GE Vernova seems to be more like energy related. I thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. Nvidia is definitely getting hit. We'll see that here in a second for sure. What a huge impact it's having, though, huh? GM, nothing there yet. Google pulling back. Yeah, Google just announced their super chip. So is this like threatening to them? It's got to be. Everybody needs their own chip. Goldman. Goldman looks fine. Looks like it's pulling back, setting up. Howmet Aerospace. That's more of a pullback. I could, right? Where you're like, hey, it's getting disrupted by the group. How much threat of tariffs is having? It's having some impact. Yeah, I agree with that, Stephen. Good observation. IBM sideways. IP waiting for earnings. Um, looks like it's a cup. What are we waiting for then? The handle. Waiting for it to break? No, I'm going to trade the handle thinking it's going to break, hoping for the break on the handle. Okay. Yeah. I think what we're seeing is fine. IWM, look at the small caps coming back. So weird that uh, the distribution of today. Small caps are fine. Large caps are fine, right? Like, but technology is getting decimated. And so the tech component of the S&P is getting dragged down. I guess that's the explanation. Um, Interesting though. Here's the thing. Technology was still playing catch up. We saw this in our sector rotation on Sunday. Technology was still playing catch up from its correction, its corrective pattern it went through back in the summer. But right now, techno other growth sectors outside of technology, financials, industrials, consumer discretionary, communication services, they all look great. I think that those can actually pull the market, even if the technology were to pull back a little bit. Here's another industrial. Ooh, as I say that, Johnson Controls, yeah, it's pretty much getting kicked off the list. It was really going flat for a while anyway, and then this is just like, yeah, there's nothing here for us. There's nothing tradable there. You're off the list, my friend. KKR. Oh, yes. I didn't know if there'd be time for a trade. I might get that trade after all. Oh, look at that. 220 That's my daughter's birthday. She turns 20. Oh, I'm old. Uh, 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 Are we on that back end of the January cyclical move that sets up Feb through April? Stephen is asking. That's how I see it. Yeah, it's if you look at what's going on, I mean, it's pretty nasty. But there was a lot of you know build up in those AI type stocks that when they see this, they're like, oh, maybe that's overblown. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not looking at this as anything more than opportunity, right? Like I see this and I'm thinking this is going to bring KKR around. Mastercard earnings coming up. Be careful there. Meta's pulling back. It's got earnings. It's one of those that's this week on the 29th. Morgan Stanley still looks strong. Microsoft. Just as Microsoft got itself back into play, it gets hit. We'll see what happens. It's got earnings on the 29th. We've got one more big day. Here's NDAQ. That looks fine, but they're on the 29th. Netflix is flagging. Here's Nvidia. They got smashed pretty hard, right? Down 10%. Oy vey. But here's our great friend PLTR. Looks fine. Looks fine. Just had this. Buyers regaining control, broke out of this consolidation. Now we're going to see, do they give us a trade in time? The next couple of days, yeah, I think we could find something. Catch a pre earnings rally. Yeah, I'm in for it. What time is it? How much time do we have? Anything surprising for anyone right now? Where you're like, oh, shoot, I don't know what to do. Right? I hope not. I hope you're okay. If you're in trades, you're kind of assessing, but it sounds like not many were in, which is good. So now we're just sort of looking to see, does this provide us new opportunity, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, let's keep going. QQQ. Yeah, it gapped down, but it's trying to fight back. Yeah, Miguel, love it. In zero trades, did not get hit. I mean, there's nothing better than that. You got to feel good about that. The Q's trying to get a little recovery. Roblox. Oh, I thought maybe we'd get some better opportunity than this. This thing's still fighting for resistance. Reddit. I like the way Reddit's pulling back. That's giving something. Rocket Labs maybe giving a pullback, setting up. Selective on entries makes a lot of sense. All the covered calls are doing great. Love it. I love it. You guys are making my morning. You wake up Monday morning, you see the market under a bit of distress, and what do? Nothing. You just sit back and you're like, yeah, okay, all right. Even if we were in trades, we would have the same reaction. Even, well, we are. I mean, Walmart's on. Interestingly enough, it hit a take profit zone bullishly. So, yeah, I think we're doing all right here. We're holding our own. SoFi pulling back. Earnings are they were looking for 3.9. They got 5. They exceeded, but they gapped down like a lot of things. I think SoFi could be setting up. I think it's a very just got this new high, pulling back. I think there's something developing in there. The SPY fighting back, fighting back. TJX, we said, ooh, well, look at that. There's a couple of things that are like possible for today. Toast pulling back, nice little setup potentially developing there after this last breakout. Tesla pulling back, TSM smashed like a lot of folks in the chip sector have been. Man, that was something though, right? That was something. Twilio, Twilio's holding on to its gap from yesterday. What does the VIX say? Oh, okay. Okay. Now, we actually this is good. Let's talk about this. This is our last high. You can kind of see from a overnight standpoint, I don't think it did it in the day today. I think that's overnight. I'm not going to count that as a higher high. And you might think, Scott, do you get to just decide that? Well, let's see. Let's go inside. See, when it opened there, it opened on the overnight. Yeah, I'm going to give it a little bit of flexibility on that high. And I'm going to pay way more attention to the bodies. So you can see the body high. That's what's more important to me is this body high. And you can see this is our body high now. Um, so that was a high. We wondered if that was going to be. It looked like it was going to, and then that failed. So that was not a lower high, but that was. That was the start of this nice rally that we just had. Now, and that got us to not below this low, but it definitely took out this low, right? Lower low. Um, this is still holding though. Got close, but didn't get all the way down. And now we've turned back up pretty abruptly. So the question is do we turn up, stabilize, and then come back down? When that rolls over, that is the next lower high in this broad de-escalation. That's confirmation bullish. That confirms us wanting to put bullish trades on. If that stabilizes and rolls in that position, and again, it does require just a little bit of fluidity with that first little piece right there. Okay. I will be water in my analysis. I will be fluid in my analysis. Questions about this? So if this does roll over this week, this will also give us an extra quarter of a point on the market posture. That's impactful to us to see that pop up, not break 20. And I know again, you're like, it did break 20. Yeah, you know what I mean. It doesn't count that first couple of minutes being when it was above 20. We're not going to count that. Um, so okay. Let's finish the watch list. Let's talk about the trading plan. We'll wrap it up. We should all be walking away from this like, yeah, nodding our heads, feeling pretty good. Got a little swagger. VRT smashed. Oh God, smashed. And once again, you might be thinking, oh man, Imagine the people who held on to that. Well, if you held on as an investor, you just are back where you were here. And yeah, it sucks that you gave it all back so fast. As a trader, if you got in there and you rode this up and you had this 3 day period that capped Friday with a bearish engulfing tweezer hold candle. I mean, that is like screaming that the move is over on a Friday. If you held through that, like what my question for that person would be, what were you hoping for? You thought it was just gonna like reverse again on a month, right? Like it's like, come on, come on. So for everybody out there in the group that closed all their trades, locked it down, and watched this thing drop, good on you. Well done, you. Let's get ready to reward ourselves with another round of trades the other way. Starting even here potentially. Broke my consolidation. New high, pulls back. If it doesn't drop, if it stabilizes and starts to turn, yeah, definitely would think about it. When did this happen last time? Consolidation, broke it, pulled back, bam. One, two, three windows came after that. All good windows, right? All starting where? After this pattern. Now, it could take longer, it could take shorter. We don't know how long it's going to take, but that's what we're looking for over and 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 over. Okay, so if you're in Walmart, I hope you took the profit at 96. Still looks fine for the day. But be patient for back at 96 again and have an order ready next time. But this looks fine still. However, remember that we're watching these candles here. So now I'm gonna move my stop again, and then tomorrow I'll move my stop again. And this week is probably gonna, unless this thing really starts to take off, I don't think Walmart will last beyond that. SoFi reported earnings at 8:30. Yeah, we saw that beat. That was a good they let's go back. We are definitely considering SoFi. Bill, that's a great call out. This is in the pattern. This isn't a breakout. This is just like this was in its prior trend. This trend was intact the whole time. Boom, big move up, new high. We love that. Pulling back anywhere in here. However, you'll notice that our stochastics just rolled over. Like we've got time to see how does this thing play out? Does it stabilize and then turn? What does it look like? I 100% agree. This is one that we'll be looking for. Um, yeah, I mean there's a solid pattern of seeing that. Okay, that's the watch list. Um, Love to see the one bullish trade that we did hold still doing its job to some extent. Didn't hold all of it, but it's doing its job. The trading plan. If you haven't seen it yet, let's go look at two things. If I can, there's one. Okay, personal info. We already did that last week. Catch up if you haven't. If you're wondering where this is, it's in the resources, right? Get into the resources in Circle, download. There's a lot of downloads that are available. Download your trading plan, download the sample plan if you want to use it as a guide to help write your own. Download the record keeping spreadsheets, download the top 10 mistakes of new traders. There's a lot of resources. Like it's not just come to the meetings or look for trade alerts. There's a lot of resources. There's the courses. First stock trade course, first option trade course. You've got the trading foundations, the options foundations. Plenty for you to go dive in on. But for now, everything that we've been talking about, what we did yesterday is the routine for market posture, market forecasting. Overall, we have a posture score, and then we move into our trading posture. What is our trading posture? It's increasingly looking to take bullish trades right now. It's patient, but looking for bullish trades. When we talk about implications, we talk about what types of trades, how long should they last, what type of risk management am I applying, what strategies make sense in this market, and how am I going to employ trade management tactics. That's scaling. That question was asked yesterday, scale or the day before, possibly. Scaling is moving in. When we talked about Walmart, you would have scaled out. If you had three contracts, you might have sold one of them when it hit 96, and then you try to carry the other two to 100. And that way, if it doesn't get there, well, you've already locked in some gains and you've taken some risk out of the trade. That's a both a trade tactic and a psychological tactic. Okay, so and lastly, hedging. Hedging has to be purposeful and deliberate and proactive, or else it'll never work. So certainly, you know, you might have thought, well, Scott, shouldn't we have hedged on Friday? Well, we talked about that actually. And we said there's not a hedge signal, but when the VIX is low and starting to turn, that certainly can be used to hedge. If you what? If you carry a number of trades, right? I said if you're carrying three or four trades, then hell yeah, you should hedge, right? But no one was carrying three or four trades, so we didn't hedge. Then we said, if anything, this would be something where you start to ask yourself, am I looking to be more speculative to the downside? Well, if you would have bought in some puts speculatively, yeah, they'd be paying off handsomely today. So there you go. That's hopefully you see why we have the conversations that we have. When's our next conversation? Q&A later today. Later tonight, 8 p.m. Full Q&A. It's 1 hour. You'll find it in the events under the interactive coaching. Um, Come have a chat. Let's talk about what we're doing, what we're looking for. I would love if the questions start to dry up, we might just look to build a trade, possibly find an alert for tomorrow, depending on how today's market goes. So yeah, I think we're in a great place. From what I'm reading, from the temperature check, seems like everyone else is too. It's good to see you all. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tonight. As always, happy trading.